He called me powerless over his network. I watched him buy $1,200 in useless hardware. Julian uses more server storage than a small production house. He shoots uncompressed 8K video, runs massive batch exports until 3 a.m. with his speakers blasting, and archives raw files he never actually edits. All on a 10-gigabit network he hasn't paid for in months. The enterprise server bill is $400 a month. My name on the contract. Split 50-50. That was the deal when we signed the commercial lease. Month 1 he paid. Nothing since. I confronted him in month 2. He was editing on his massive monitor. Didn't even look away. I'll wire it next Friday, he muttered. Friday vanished. Month 3, he leaned back in his ergonomic chair and smirked with the absolute confidence of a guy who thinks he's untouchable. The network ports are baked into our commercial lease, Julian sneered. You can't legally terminate my access without facing an eviction lawsuit. Just deal with it. He went back to color grading. I walked back to my bay, entirely calm. Heat climbed my neck and my vision blurred, but I was calculating. Julian made one fatal miscalculation. He assumed a physical disconnection was my only weapon. He didn't understand what lived inside the Cisco managed switch. That's when the real bombshell dropped. At 2 a.m., I pulled up the switch's admin panel via its private IP. I navigated to the port bandwidth allocation tab. Julian's Mac Studio and render node were clearly listed by their MAC addresses. I highlighted his specific Ethernet ports and dragged the throttle slider left. Past 10 gigabits. Past 1 gigabit. Past 100 megabits. I locked it at exactly 2 megabits per second. The speed of an early 2000s DSL connection. A single raw photo would take 3 minutes to transfer. A video file would take 6 hours. I hit apply and went home. Next morning, from across the studio, what the hell? Then the sound of a mouse slamming. Then slamming harder. Like physical violence would accelerate data. His network settings showed a perfect, stable, hardwired connection. Full green lights. But every packet of data squeezing through his port was suffocating. His progress bar crawled to 1% and completely stalled. Final Cut Pro estimated 99 hours remaining for a standard export. The loading wheel spun endlessly. He rebooted his Mac Studio. Same. Swapped his Ethernet cables. Same. Unplugged the wall jack and blew into it like it was a retro game cartridge. I sat in my bay, silently transferring a massive commercial campaign at blistering speeds. My door cracked just enough to hear him hyperventilating. Over the next week, Julian descended into total digital insanity. Ping tests timed out. He purged his cache, deleted software, spent hours on forums reading hard drive write failure threads. Nothing worked, because his hardware was flawless. The cage was inside the network switch, and I swallowed the key. He called the IT vendor. They told him the primary account holder had to authorize a diagnostic. I was conveniently off-site. Day 9, Julian hauled a massive box into the studio. A brand new, maxed-out logic board in Thunderbolt array. $1,200. He ripped it open with the desperate excitement of a man who believed he had finally purchased his salvation. New hardware, clean install. He plugged the Ethernet cable in, opened his server drive, and dragged a folder. The progress bar appeared. Calculating time remaining. Then, 74 hours. He stared at the monitor for 2 agonizing minutes. His expression morphed from smug hope to utter devastation. $1,200 of silicon and aluminum, transferring data like it was 2004. He slammed both palms onto his desk and exhaled a broken, defeated breath. I walked past his bay, holding my coffee, and casually glanced at his screen. Then I pulled up my own laptop. I initiated a server transfer. 4 gigabytes vanished into the cloud in 3 seconds. I made sure he saw it. Weird, I whispered. My node works perfectly. You should probably pay the server invoice. I heard the hosting company algorithmically throttles accounts with outstanding balances. He looked at me, looked at his $1,200 paperweight, looked at the progress bar still frozen at 1%. He wired me $600 in 3 minutes. 3 months paid in full. I walked into my bay, opened the admin panel, and restored his port to 10 gigabits. It took exactly 5 seconds.